Alright, so last video I bent the crap out of this thing. This guy here. And it's still bent, but at least it's straight, pretty straight this way. And what I did to straighten it out was I set it on the ground and I used this thing like a hammer and smashed on it, and it bent it straight. But I left the angle because, as it turns out, and I think I talked about it in the last one, the strongest, from the piston, the strongest amount of strength is when all of these things are lined up all the way down. So based on that, this thing's going to be in this position to when I start cutting the wood. Anything less than that, I don't have as much strength, and it won't go through. So based on that, I've taken, I had a couple of these. I had a big long piece of steel here left over from another project, and I cut 6 inches off of each side, measured it, and welded it in a T-shape. And then I'm going to take a, I've got an arm here somewhere, this guy. I'm going to take him, cut him in half, and weld onto here and the arms. And that's basically the shape that I saw mostly on the internet of the other ones. It was kind of a T-shape type thing that tunneled into this part of the brace. Now the problem I have is the holes are a pain in the ass to drill. I don't have a drill bit that big, so I'm finding pieces that I'm gonna weld onto this guy here, and I'll just cut with a torch a hole bigger and then weld the shapes on there, and then we'll see how it fits. And it's going to be basically one more piece here to hold this whole arm together. This thing becomes pretty strong after that, and most of the strength of the jaw closing here is going to go right into this part of it. So hopefully I won't rip out anything over here, but I don't think I'm going to have any problem with this thing bending up here. The problem I had there was I actually hooked the chain through here around there, and the angles were wrong. It was just too much torque right in here. It's still surprising it could bend that, but based on the length of it and where the chain was, it was incorrect. This is much further down, and the angles are going to be better. I don't think that's going to happen again. Ideally, you know, what I'd like it to do is just stall out rather than bending any steel. But you never know, this thing surprises me sometimes. So that's where I'm at now. Side note is the claw, or whatever you want to call this thing, is incredibly strong the way I designed it, you know, or I cut it from the bucket and welded that piece in the end there. It worked amazing as a hammer. So that may be another side benefit of having this repurposed bucket, is some kind of a smashing hammer. I have no idea what amount of pressure, but you know, I lift it up a couple feet in the air and then just let it drop, and it would probably several tons of force. Obviously it did bend this back. It was bent out in a weird shape. So that's where we're at.